Okay, I'm going to go over the exercises for video 1 or section 1 of this logic course. I'm only going to go over the ones that aren't listed at the back of the book and give you the answers to that. So if you have any questions about those that I don't answer as I go through them here, feel free to email me. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so in section 1.1, moving along, a lot of the ones that were asked were given at the back of the book, but not question 20. So let me go through question 20. This is a somewhat complicated arguments from Adam Smith. So part of the problem that's complicated about it is that it was written in sort of 18th century English. But it says, corn is an annual crop. Butcher's meat, a crop which requires 4 or 5 years to grow, as an acre of land, therefore, will produce a much smaller quantity of the one species of food than the other, the inferiority of the quantity must be compensated for by the superiority of the price. So basically what Matt Smith is arguing is that it's kind of supply and demand. If there is less of one than the other, then it costs more to get that less because it's rarer. There's less quantity of it. So that's the basic point that he's making in this passage. And so the conclusion is the inferiority of the quantity must be compensated by the superiority of the price. And so the other claims, corn is an annual crop, is a premise. Butcher's meat, a crop which requires 4 or 5 years to grow, and so on. And then an acre of land will produce a much smaller quantity of the one species of food than the other. That would be yet another premise. So all these are reasons in support of the conclusion that the inferiority of quantity must be compensated by the superiority of the price. So number 24, the conclusion is too much sun can lead to health problems. Number 30, the conclusion is, and we actually have a kind of conclusion indicator with hence, an end that is always choice-worthy in its own right and never because of something else is complete without qualification. And now we move on to section 2, question 1. So the point here was the following arguments were taken from magazine and newspaper editorials and letters to the editor. In most instances, the main conclusion must be rephrased to capture the full intent of the author. Write out what you interpret the main conclusion to be. So the first one, basically the main conclusion is college sports is as focused on money as professional sports. Now that was also given at the back of the book, but I just thought I would give you an example here if you hadn't looked at the back of the book yet. Number 4 is also given at the back of the book, but this is basically the argument is that business majors are missing out on what college has to offer. It's the main point that's being made there. And number 6, this one's not at the back of the book, but the point should be fairly clear that Congress should not cut the NIH, National Institute of Health budget. Okay, for section 1.2, one that's not given at the back of the book, 17. Passage was, young people at universities study to achieve knowledge and not to learn a trade. We must all learn how to support ourselves, but we must also learn how to live. We need a lot of engineers in the modern world, but we do not want a world of modern engineers. This is a non-argument, loosely associated statements. It's not really making a point that has any premises to support it. It's just random points being kind of put together. Number 20, since the 1950s, a malady called whirling disease has invaded U.S. fishing streams, frequently attacking rainbow trout. A parasite deforms young fish, which often chase their tails before dying, hence the name. So this is basically giving an explanation as to why whirling disease got its name. Then number 30. The brain and the nervous system are composed of 2 types of cells, neurons and glial cells. Neurons are responsible for information transmission, blah, blah. So it goes on and gives examples of, it's expository about the nervous system and the 2 types of cells. So it's not an argument either. Okay, section 2. Number 6, we're supposed to identify whether it's an argument or not, and if it's an argument, what the conclusion is. So number 6 is an argument, and the conclusion is treating cruelty to animals with the seriousness it deserves doesn't only protect animals, it also makes the entire community safer. Number 8 is also an argument, and the conclusion is sort of tucked in the middle. When women's voices are silenced, it is not only the message that suffers discrimination, it's the institutions themselves that suffer. So that would be the main conclusion. And number 9 is a non-argument. And that's it for the answers to the exercises for this section.